of Miami-Dade, getting your COVID-19 vaccination is an important part. Help everyone stay safe as we continue to fight the spread. And we can protect those most vulnerable around us. With easy access to vaccination locations and the growing ability for more people to be protected, it's our best shot to keep moving forward. It's our best shot for a strong, healthy community. For more information, visit miamidade.gov/vaccine.
And this is the UN Process Hour that goes to you every Thursday at the same time and on a beautiful day, like always. So here we are with a very talented young man. You know, if you were expecting someone, you know, you won't be disappointed with this one either. If you were, Renato had a a problem, you know, with his classes, and he had to solve everything, you know. You know, you enjoy him and his wife last week. You know, it was a trip. It was very nice. So now we have someone who we will be talking about in years to come, Mr. Eric Stern, and we're going to start with Carolina Shout by James Johnson. Yes, sir. And we are here, as you know, every Thursday at 11 o'clock, and we don't charge anything. That's the the biggest deal that you get, that you don't pay anything anytime. And next week, there's going to be something different. It's going to be a traditional radio show with John Tabersa talking about the concert that it's with a concert jazz band and the music of Yayi Lee, the guest artist. So I think that John is going to bring part of his class over here. So it's going to be part class and part we're going to play the CDs of Yayi all over from the main cabin over here. So no live music next week, but it's gonna be wonderful as always. If you want to come, we'll accommodate you over there in the main cabin. So no problem with that. Okay, and now we're going to continue, and this is called Lisa with Chick Corea by Chick Corea. Yes, sir. And if you just tune up, you're listening to WDNA 88.9 FM and WDNA.org if you're in the internet. And you're listening to the UN Frost Jazz Hour, and we're playing for you pretty good music, I think. And I was mentioning you the next week we'll have the traditional radio show with John Daversa, and also with talking about the concert jazz band, and also it's going to be in there J.G. Lee, which is a guest artist. That's going to be on the January 26th. If you want to get your tickets, go to the School of Music website, and you'll find it there. And also during the semester, we're going to have the Creole Ensemble, and with Etienne Charles as the coach, the extensions coached by Kay Reed, also for the Funk Fusion Ensemble with Steve Rocker, a Wayne Shorter Ensemble coached by John Hart, and then the Latin Jazz Orchestra by Daphne Prieto, and that's in late April, and he's going to bring none other than Chucho Valdez, the main source of Latin jazz for many people in the last 40 or 50 years, and then also the New Music Ensemble by John Jarling. And then now I would like to talk to Eric a little bit. How you started. Of course, New York is New York, and if you don't have a bit of an artist in New York, there's something wrong with you. But anyway, you started your native Brooklyn. Hey, a native Brooklyn, and what makes you started? Were you more attracted? I know that you started at a pretty young age. Were you started in at more attracted to classical to or jazz?
Um, well, when my parents enrolled me in like there's this establishment called the Brooklyn Conservatory of Music, and my parents, they wanted to get me started pretty early. So when they went to register me for lessons, they described who I am, at least according to them, to the person at the desk. And they're like, oh, he's like a creative, kind of more like freewheeling. And they're like, oh, like he should go into the jazz department. So I think it was clear from a young age that I was more geared towards the jazz side of things. But at the time, the Brooklyn Conservatory of Music didn't actually have a jazz teacher who was ready to teach me. They had a teacher, but they went to him, and this guy, Doug Booth, who I studied with for 6 years, but he said, I'm not ready to teach him. So I took classical lessons at a pretty low level, nothing very advanced, but basics of the piano for around, I'd say, 5 years or so.
Well, you got your technique ready.
Somewhat.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
yeah. But I learned how to play the piano. And then at around maybe 11 to 12, as I was going into middle school, it was time for me to have a new teacher. And at this point, the teacher that had originally turned me down was still at the school and still giving lessons. And now he was a bit more ready to teach me. And so I switched to studying with him. And he really was my main teacher for the next 6 years. And over that time, I really developed a lot in my younger career in jazz, I guess. But it's interesting. And while I've been in school here at Frost, I found a newfound love for classical. I think coming back to it, I've gained a greater understanding of it, and I really like it. I love Bach and Debussy, and I'm playing.
Were you
some
taking
Brahms.
were you taking classical lessons here at Frost?
I am now. This is the first semester I'm gonna take them. I did take classical lessons. I studied abroad last spring, about a year ago in Amsterdam, and I took classical lessons out there, and that was really fun. I really loved the lessons. I had a great teacher who really, we connected really nicely. We would just, talk about Bach and all these different people, and it was great. But I learned a lot, and it was also really fun. So I decided to continue that here.
Yeah, and here on the other side, you got Shelly Berg, Martin Bejerano, Alex Brown, and Gonzalo Rubalcaba, which I think you took lessons also. So
Yeah.
on the other hand, so there are many, very, I mean, not many, but very few places here that offer, that kind of talent here. But anyway, well, now you're playing with the Frost Concert Jazz Band, or
Yeah, I'm in the Frost Concert Jazz Band this year, so I'm working with John. Yeah, you mentioned the concert with Jihi Lee, so that is a week from today in Gusman Hall. I think we start at 7:30. But the music is fun. It's really really interesting music. Jihi has her own brand of writing and composing, and I'm excited to play that music and share it with.
that's one of the things that John, John has his own very own thing, as far as writing is concerned. And every time he brings a guest or a guest artist, he always brings someone who is very different from the other, and that's a very good thing. And we want you everybody to tune to next week program because it's going to be very very interesting. Well, now we're going to let's see where we are right now. Oh, now we're going to feature something very, very Brazilian or Brazilian. One of Antonio Carlos Jobim, one of his hits, Chega de Saudade. Yes, sir. And now we are going to take a little break and we'll be right back. Alrighty, and we are right back from a short break here, and we're going straight to something that I lost my favorite. Okay, Skylark. Hey, who doesn't know Skylark by Hoagie Carmichael, one of the biggest standards in jazz repertoire. You know, it makes me think right now that because of the next tune that we're going to play right now, is there any particular or very two particular piano players that really set you up, you know, while you were growing up, or did they still, or do they still do?
Well, one person that really inspired me very recently was this guy named Sullivan Fortner. He's well known for being Cecile McLaurin Salvant's pianist. And she's, I think, actually from Miami. But I heard him this past winter break. I went home to see family, and I took my mother and my aunt to see Sullivan live at one of the clubs, Mesro, solo piano, and he played Christmas music, and it was really like a life-changing experience. I'd been practicing stride a lot, and you heard that with like Carolina Shout and that last piece, but there was just some things that he did, I was like, that were just so innovative and inventive, and yet so rooted in what came before. I think of him as a new and improved Art Tatum in a way, in terms of like his commitment to the melody and the fact that he doesn't really like, I don't feel like he's like a huge like line player. He's not playing bebop lines like Parker or Dizzy Gillespie or Bud Powell. He's really grounded in everything he's doing is around the melody, and it makes for really connected performance. But he's just a brilliant piano player and super nice guy. So that was really inspiring. I mean, growing up, I don't know, my dad would play a lot of classical music in the house. It was always classical music on the weekends, and he listens to a lot of like kind of boogie woogie / rock and roll blues kind of things, some world music too, and a little bit of jazz. But then I just had the ear for jazz, and I think I just eventually kind of found it. And then throughout my later childhood in high school, I don't know, people like Chick Corea and Herbie Hancock and really Keith Jarrett too, really more the 60s people really kind of awoke me in that way. And then later on, of course, I've
That's
discovered
what when I was
others.
when I was growing up, you know, my guy was Keith Jarrett. You know, like everybody used to listen to him, especially that double set record. You know, I don't know that in those days, you know, we used to call them records. you know, but now it's maybe four CDs. You know, but Keith used to be the guy at the band. And the thing is that you know, the jazz education in the last 30 years has gone so far. You know that I mean, taking apart the fact that you're very talented, you know, to get that talent and getting the right education, I think makes a lot, you know. And for example, in my days, I used to get all those record scratches, you know, to transcribe something, you know, at the end of when I end of the transcribing, you couldn't even play because it was so badly that, you know. But anyway, those were the days. Well, now we're going to listen to something by Keith Jarrett called Prism. Okay, after that beautiful version there, we are ready for our last tune here. Yeah, so we were right on the money as far as the timing. Anyway, you're listening to the WDNA 88.9 FM and WDNA.org. And remember, next week we're going to have in a traditional radio show with John DaBersa and talking about the concert jazz band and talking about J.J. Lee as a guest artist. Jay, as a matter of fact, is going to be here too. So it will be very important to listen to what she has to say. And, one of the things that I said in the little ad that I gave to you, Eric, for one day there, and he says, you are the best at prose, and you are the one of the very best at prose, but you'll be one of the best in other places as well. Remember that, okay? And anyway, what other piece to end the jazz program? That Satin Doll by Duke Ellington.